Hello and welcome to Lyra Nara. In this video we need to talk about what is a very hot topic right now that affects us all, and that is the current coronavirus pandemic, or COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2. Unfortunately, there is a lot of misinformation out right now, and in this video therefore we're gonna show you the facts. One of the misinformations that we're gonna tackle head on is that there is no therapy that works for the coronavirus. In some ways that is true, as you will see, but in others it's definitely not. There are over 80, that is 80 clinical trials going on right now, and some of them have great promise and great success, and you can see that also from the number of patients that are recovering. So in this video we're gonna concentrate on the successful therapy methods that are already being applied experimentally, and much more, of course. But before we do that, short reminder, take advantage of our current sales actions and get some of the most powerful holistic health devices at unbeatable prices for limited time only. Link in the description box below. Also, if you enjoy this type of content where we talk about holistic health solutions, like, share and subscribe, support our channel. Also, do not forget to hit the notifications button, that is the little bell icon, so you don't miss out on future content that appears here weekly. Without further ado then, let's show you the facts about the coronavirus and the most promising therapy methods that are being applied right now. Let's begin by defining exactly what we are talking about. So this severe respiratory coronavirus disease called COVID-19 is caused by the virus that goes by the name of SARS-CoV-2, which of course first broke at the end of the year 2019 in Wuhan, China. COVID-19 is a RNA virus found usually in animals, and SARS-CoV-2 is a mutated SARS coronavirus. As far as we know right now, the mutations took place in bats and pangolin, and the SARS-CoV-2 is still mutating in humans. Just recently there were 3 new different strains that have been identified. How do you get infected? Close body contact, eating the infected animals, of course, through airborne aerosols, so when somebody is sneezing and coughing, touching contaminated surfaces, and also fecal contamination. What you need to understand is, in order to spread, this virus must be able to replicate, so it must find a host. So it's very important to keep to some very basic rules of hygiene. So wash your hands often. Also use either chlor-based or alcohol-based disinfectants on the surfaces. Keep your distance also when you are in very populated areas to the other people around you. So those things will help bring this under control much more rapidly. And it is really important to take these protective measures, as you can see here from the graph on the right of the slide. The cases without protective measures and with protective measures, and the healthcare system capacity. So what we are trying to do right now by implementing these measures, or the governments around the world are trying, most of them, is not to overstress and overwhelm the healthcare system capacity. With protective measures that we've discussed, this can be definitely managed. And don't let anybody tell you that the virus is contained and that it's not spreading anymore. As we speak right now, March the 17th, 2020, COVID-19 is still spreading worldwide. We have over 184,000 cases, over 7,000 deaths, and about 80,000 recoveries as we speak. One of the major reasons why this COVID-19 is still spreading is, apart from the late reactions of some governments, the lack of a reliable, specific and sensitive enough testing methodology. And we have definitely reached the pandemic phase with many problems coming to our health systems. We do not have enough capacities in our healthcare systems, especially emergency units. And this goes especially for the case in which the system becomes overwhelmed by a big wave, as you can see also in the graph, of cases. And that's why we have to take these protective measures. There is also the problem that we do not have a fast and reliable, sensitive enough and specific enough diagnosing method everywhere in the world right now. In the US, we have the additional problem that there are not enough testing kits. And we do not have an established and approved healthcare methodology to treat COVID-19 right now. And COVID-19, by the way, is very similar to the former epidemic a couple of years ago called SARS-CoV-1. But you don't have to panic. That doesn't mean that we do not have any tests at all to determine whether somebody is infected with this virus. We do have some tests, only that they also leave some things to be desired still. So COVID-19 is an RNA virus that proliferates through a polymerization mechanism that is enabled by the enzyme called reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction. The first recommended test to identify the COVID-19 is to determine, therefore, this RT-PCR enzyme. And to use the RT-PCR test, there must be enough viruses in the patient. Also, the sensitivity of this test is about 30 to 70% only, depending on the time when the patient was quarantined and tested. And there is also an additional problem that sometimes the test is not used properly. And because of the limitations of this testing methodology, we need to combine it with another testing methodology, and that is a chest CT scan. So the chest CT scan is more sensitive in the incipient phase. That's one of the advantages. However, this chest CT is not available in some regions of the world and also lacks the COVID specificity. However, specific patterns in a CT for COVID patients are the following: ground glass opacity, consolidations and crazy paving patterns, and you can see those in the picture on the right. Some patterns, however, considered to be COVID-19 specific when using the chest CT can also be seen in other conditions such as influenza, pneumonia, adenovirus infections, as well as non-infectious conditions. This test is sensitive but not specific enough, and therefore it is recommended to start with a chest CT but reinforce the COVID-19 diagnosis with the RT-PCR test that we've discussed. Okay, now that we know that yes, there are tests available and we can determine whether somebody is infected by the coronavirus, let's discuss what does the coronavirus do to the people who are infected and how do they die. So COVID-19 kills people because of an acute respiratory distress symptom, so ARDS. Because of that, the blood is not oxygenated enough due to the alveolar inflammation that is caused by the COVID-19. And in this case, patients must be treated in emergency units using different methods of ventilation. And that is because we have limited amounts of this type of ICU. We need to take all these precautions so there is not a big wave of cases that overwhelms our entire healthcare system. And COVID kills people because it opens the respiratory gate to bacterial infections such as Streptococcus aureus, and this causes unexpected death. Also, keep in mind that if you already have existing preconditions, such as cardiovascular diseases or diabetes, you are much more vulnerable. And also, this might be also the reason why so far most death cases have been people with an age of over 50 years. And with that, we come to the therapies. Right now, experimental approaches that are being used in clinical studies and in cases worldwide to treat the affected ones. In a recent study, the 2019 nCoV antiviral efficacy of 5 FDA-approved antibiotic drugs, including ribavirin, penciclovir, nitazoxanide, nafamostat, and an anti-malaria medicine called chloroquine, as well as 2 other well-known broad-spectrum antiviral drugs called remdesivir or GS5734 and favipiravir or T705 was evaluated in vitro, so in a petri dish. And the results can be seen here in the graphs on the right. And they revealed that remdesivir and chloroquine are highly effective in controlling the 2019 nCoV infection in vitro. Unfortunately, right now there are no test results yet for in vivo experiments. Since these compounds, however, have been used with a very good safety track record and also have shown to be very effective against various ailments, we suggest that they should be assessed in human patients that suffer from the novel coronavirus. And this is already ongoing as we speak. Chloroquine and its derivative hydroxychloroquine have been exceptionally efficient in treating the COVID-19, and drugs have also been mixed with DMSO for better cellular penetration, and that also shows great promise. Chloroquine, by the way, is a synthetic quinine that is used normally for treating malaria when artemisinin is not available. There is also another very promising natural quinine source, and that is Cryptolepis sanguinolenta. This plant has been used for centuries in Africa, and it has shown exceptional anti-malarial, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, antiviral, antifungal, antiamoebic, anti-cancer, anxiogenic properties. It's also a great analgesic with sedative activity. It's a great antioxidant, and it's also anti-diabetic and great for fertility. Cryptolepis, the bioactive components of it are 13 different alkaloids, and some of them are very similar to chloroquine. All of the remedies described here can be used and are being used experimentally right now in hospitals around the world for the treatment of COVID-19, and some of them, the ones that we've discussed here, show great success so far. Another advantage of Cryptolepis is that it's also very cheap and accessible for people without healthcare facilities. And studies also clearly showed that Cryptolepis root, an aqueous extract thereof, at a dosage of 500 milligrams per kilogram of body weight is safe and very efficient for treating malaria as well as antiviral infections such as the coronavirus. And by understanding the replication cycle of the SARS-CoV-2, we can also derive some treatment methods that can be highly successful. And this is what the medical community has done and is doing right now. So the fast spread of this COVID-19 is possible only if the virus replication machinery is enabled and the virus can produce millions of virions permanently. How does it do that? Well, the virus hijacks the cellular genetic DNA information found in our cell nucleus to extract and recreate its own COVID-19 RNA. and then it is using its own RNA, the code that it has slipped into our DNA, with the aim, of course, of spreading its own genetics code, and such is the proliferation cycle of this virus. And this proliferation or multiplication process is only possible if a reverse transcription polymerase enzyme is activated, and that is the RT-PCR. Therefore, the medications that are able to stop the virus proliferation must have the ability to stop the RT-PCR enzyme. And for example, the antibiotic that we've discussed already that is being used experimentally called Remdesivir has already been successfully used, by the way, for treating the Ebola pandemic in Africa, could stop the COVID-19 proliferation, and therefore, so far from the data that we have, the patients treated experimentally, so to speak, with Remdesivir have been immediately improving. More elegant and efficient, however, might be the use of malaria drugs such as chloroquine or hydroxychloroquine. Also Krytolepsis, water extract with 25% DMSO, because those can be used as ionophores to introduce the zinc ions into the human cells. And if we can manage to bring those zinc ions into our cells, we can interrupt the replication cycle of the coronavirus. Because zinc ions deactivate right away the virus replication enzyme machinery, and thus the COVID-19 virus proliferation can be completely stopped. So, conclusion of this presentation is that we do not have to panic, but we have to take precautions. Wash your hands, disinfect surfaces, keep your distance, stay at home as much as possible in order not to overwhelm our healthcare system so it can deal with the situation. Doctors worldwide are working really hard on finding solutions, and as you can see, the preliminary solutions show already great promise. So you don't need to panic. We can get this under control if we help each other and stay united, and also follow some simple measures of hygiene. If you have any questions about this subject, please do not hesitate to contact us. Complete contact information in the description box below. Also, do not forget again to take advantage of our current sales actions and get some of the most powerful holistic health devices at amazing prices for limited time only. And of course, if you enjoy this type of content, support our work by liking, sharing, subscribing, and also hit the notification button. With all that being said, stay healthy. Until next time.